Do we have an approval of the March 27th agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the February 27th minutes?
Have
Any
some
correction or
corrections
additions?
I'd like to go over.
Okay.
At the bottom of the first page, very last sentence,
I'm sorry, what page?
Bottom of the first.
bottom of the very first page.
Okay.
Says 5 of the 14 acres, but we're forced to buy the entire, should be site,
Yeah, we're missing an E.
okay? Then jump over to the second page at the bottom of the 4th paragraph. Last sentence, building would not be attached, and he plans to keep the existing building. See that? Very large, where your finger is,
Okay. Oh.
very
building,
last sentence.
For additional storage right before that.
It stated the building would not be attached, and he plans to keep the existing building
Yeah.
for additional
Building.
storage.
You know what? Sated.
Okay,
We're gonna just be all over you, Chris.
let's see. Were you guys English teachers in your?
Yeah, we're editors
I think-
by trade.
Third
Yeah.
page, if you will, please.
Yep.
I think it'd be useful if we identified first and last name of the people mentioned in that and who they are, like Shimp. I mean, we know who Shimp is,
Mhm.
but it's
At least the first time. Generally
First.
speaking, anytime,
Right.
first time someone's
Right.
listed.
correct, right? So you got Shimp, you got Levi,
Yeah, and that's just my familiar. I've
Sure,
known Levi
right,
for so
but-
long, I didn't even think of that.
and then further down you have Anderson. So there's 3 last names, but no first names or who, they are,
Yeah, that's important for the records.
right?
And I only have one L. My name,
Now that I think is a spell check. That's it. That's spell checks.
probably, yeah.
Stay with me here, we're almost done. In this very large paragraph on, what would be page 3? Here, look here, Chris, I'm pointing at this part of it.
Okay.
It talks about, Thornsberry asked for more clarification on the number of lots. I suspect that was parking stalls as opposed to lots.
Yep.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
There is one thing I
Jerry
did,
has some.
if we go back to the first page, the back side of the first page, approval of minutes, the Roman numeral 2, it was your spell check. I did that. Sandy didn't pointed out the typo.
Goldsberry didn't do it, so take my name off.
Oh,
What happens to these records? Do they become a part of the file, the permanent file?
yeah. Once we edit these, the changes, I'll sign them, and they're kept in a binder in our office.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Okay, good. Well, it's good that they're corrected.
Mhm.
Okay.
So no other corrections? May I have a motion in regards to the amended?
I move the
Amendments?
approval of the amended February 27th minutes.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. We have one decision item. A request by the Boys and Girls Club of the Cedar Valley for a special permit to construct a 10,550 square foot teen center building, a variation to the required minimum parking requirements, a variance to the minimum 5-foot setback to allow the parking lot to be 0 feet from the north and south property lines, and to have a 0 lot line along East 4th Street within a C2 commercial district located at 807, 809, 811 East 4th Street. Staff report?
This is Western staff. And most of you are familiar with this request. It was first came to the Planning and Zoning Commission in September 12th of 17, and then again in just past March 6th. And both times were recommended for approval. The first approval was for a 6,500 square foot building. Since then, the Boys and Girls Club have acquired a second lot at 807 East 4th Street, therefore allowing them to increase the base footprint from 6,500 to 10,550. And they're also asking for a variance to the parking lot along the north property line and the south property line to be zero lot line. It was recommended approval March 6th, and it is now before you all. Are there any questions, or do I need to go over more of the staff report?
Just a couple here, please. Surrounding land uses and their zonings are as follows. That portion of the document.
Okay,
South, it says commercial storage building and restaurant. I assume the restaurant is Chuckster's.
yes.
What's the commercial storage?
It was the candy store that, it used to be a candy store directly to the south.
Okay,
It's really creepy.
It's now been used as cold storage by the owner of Chuckster's,
okay,
okay?
okay.
That property is going to be donated to the Boys and Girls Club. And so
Okay.
that's the reason why the footprint's expanded.
Okay.
That
so-
building's going
So
as
when it
well.
says storage, that's what you're referencing is
Correct.
the candy store. Okay.
Mhm.
Staying in that same area, I think you have east and west directions turned around. East residential district should be west, and East High should be east.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Okay.
I fiddled with that. I was drawing, I was looking at, and that's what I called Chris. Okay, good, thanks.
Then, under staff analysis zoning ordinance, it'd be on the next page, the second to the last paragraph. It says structure to the south may also be acquired. Are we referring to Chuckster's?
The candy store.
The candy,
When this first came to you, it did not include 807 East 4th Street, which is the candy store. It used to be the candy store.
okay, all
There,
right.
you're now including that in your approval or your decision.
Okay. And then on the following page, it says that they're talking about, hold on here. New grocery store, blah, 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 located at the corner of Franklin and Clay Streets. And that's not possible. Franklin and Clay don't intersect.
Well, you know, where CVS is, that entire parcel to the green space next to CVS,
Yeah,
that entire parcel is going to be used for the new grocery store.
okay.
And so, if I remember, let's see, we have to look at a map here.
But you're right, they don't intersect.
They don't intersect.
No, they don't.
You're,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
They would intersect with,
Walnut and Clay or something like that, but not Franklin and Clay.
the grocery store will be addressed off of Franklin, and it'll be between Franklin and the intersection of.
Right, yep, yep. Okay. And one last thing, and then I'm gonna shut up. It says that they're asking, correct me if I'm wrong here, they're asking for a variance of parking stalls. They're 9 short of the required 22, is that correct?
Correct.
How I'm reading it? Okay, the document that's on display right now, it shows in that picture 15 stalls. So 15 from 22 leaves 7.
Did this come out after you guys redid the P and Z staff report?
I'm sure. They
So this new map,
updated the site plan.
they updated it,
Okay,
okay, after P and Z. The new site plan was handed out at P and Z and was approved.
So they do have more parking now, so.
Yes.
Their deviation would be less.
so how many are they requesting? I mean,
So it'd be the,
how short are they, I guess, from the requirements? Would it be the 7?
22 minus 15, right?
right,
So it'd be
7.
7 instead of 9.
Yep.
And I thought I read something in here that they were optimistic that maybe down the road they would acquire some other piece of property that would give them more parking. Was there something like that in there?
I think what gets confusing is,
The candy store?
yeah,
Okay.
is
All
being
right,
thrown
okay.
in.
All right, that's what they're referencing.
Either that, or there was also a concept of them, if you look at where the parking lot kind of dead ends at the south there, there was a concept of potentially trying to get that property further to the south. But the city of Waterloo does own that, but they've got a development agreement for the rehab of the house that's on the property, so not gonna happen.
Okay. So they're still 7 short?
Correct.
Okay.
So I guess I'm confused about one thing. The candy store is being torn down?
Yes, 807 is the former candy store.
So 809 and 811 is the building north of that.
Right, the city already owns.
It has 2 addresses.
Right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So the reason why they're asking for this, is they simply don't have the space.
Well, there's 2 reasons. They want a variance to the parking. Parking lots in commercial areas typically require a 5-foot setback from the property line. Now, to add more parking and to not be so short from what they're required, they're asking to go 0 lot line along the north property line and on the south. That allows them to get to the 7 short instead of being 9. Also, this is a special permit. So since they significantly changed the footprint of the building, it had to come back and be reapproved for the new footprint of 10,550.
But I think it's also, could note in the minutes that, from the report, that most of the traffic into the center will be people who don't drive.
Yeah. I think that should have been in there.
It's in there somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, it is in there. I just thought we might want to make a special comment in our approval that we noted that, or we are noting that.
So, should I do my spiel? Therefore, staff recommends approval of the request by the Boys and Girls Club of the Cedar Valley for a special permit to construct a 10,550 square foot teen center building, a variance to the required minimum parking requirements, a variance to the minimum 5-foot setback, to allow the parking lot to be 0 feet from the north and south property lines, and to have a 0 lot line along East 4th Street within a C2 commercial district located at 807 through 809, 811 East 4th Street, be approved for the following reasons. The request would be in conformance with the comprehensive plan and future land use map for this area. The request would have a positive effect on the area by providing teens a positive place for learning. The proposed teen center would serve to generate excitement for an area that has seen minimal new development. The request would not appear to have a negative impact on the pedestrian or vehicular traffic conditions in the area. The request would allow the Boys and Girls Club to improve the ability to provide programs, activities, and opportunities to the teenage population. The construction of the Teen Learning Center may attract and retain more teens through all 4 years of high school. And with the following conditions, that the final site plan meets all applicable city codes, regulations, etc., including but not limited to parking, landscaping, screening, drainage, etc., except as approved by the Board of Adjustment.
Okay, obviously we have nobody in the audience for or against. Are there any written comments either way?
Nope.
Okay. Any more questions? With that, I'll entertain a motion. Don't all go at once.
Go ahead, John.
Lots. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I so move that the request by the Boys and Girls Club of Cedar Valley for a special permit to construct a 10,550 square feet teen center building and for a variance to the required minimum parking requirements, for a variance from the 5-foot minimum setback to allow the parking lot to be 0 feet from the north and south property lines and to have a 0 lot line along East 4th Street within the C2 Commercial District located at 807 and 809 through 811 East 4th Street be approved for the following reasons. The request would be in conformance with the comprehensive plan of the future land use for the area. The request would have a positive effect on the area. The proposed teen center would serve as to generate excitement for the area. The request would not appear to have a negative impact upon pedestrian or vehicular traffic conditions in the area. The request would allow the Boys and Girls Club to improve the ability to provide programs, activities, and opportunities to the teenage population. The construction of the teen center may attract and retain more teens for all 4 years of high school, with the following condition that the final site plan meet all applicable city codes, regulations, including but not limited to parking, landscaping, screening, drainage, et cetera, except as approved by the Board of Adjustment.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Well, we just have to ask if there's any discussion items. Hearing none, I would move.
Still stands.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.